Hello and welcome everyone. This is another live about Minigen, which is the FOSDEM Jenkins boost table display. Unfinished. As you can see, the goal of it is just to show that Jenkins can run on multi-CPU architectures so that you can have a Jenkins instance with a minimal footprint on various CPU architectures. The instance should be Arch64, the controller, sorry. Then we'll have an Arch64 agent, RISC-V 64 agent, and an ARM32 agent. Last time I made a live, we installed Linux on the MQ Pro from MangoPi, so RISC-V board, and we made of it a Jenkins agent for an existing Arch64 controller. And I promised to install Linux and Jenkins on the MangoPi MQ Quad, which is, ouch, just a second, which is there. But it has proven being difficult for the time being because we don't have Armbian for this one. We have a few two maybe, Linux distros, and none of them can handle the Ethernet and USB chip, which is in this one, in this hat, nor the one which is in my USB-C. Where is it? There it is. Come with me. Yeah. With USB-C hub. Which does work with the RISC-V from the same manufacturer, but this one runs Armbian, where I guess there are more modules configured so that it works out of the box with it. So I think I'm gonna buy a simple USB-C to USB-A adapter and put a keyboard in it and run the default distro and just let it know that there is a Wi-Fi network which is available. That afterward I'll be able to get rid of that hat and just run it like its sister with just a USB-C power cable, and that's all. At least that's the goal. So today, what can we do? As you may have seen already, I made another draft mode torus that we could add to our structure to get it less wonky. I also made some adapters for the bolt, so maybe the first part of the light could be that. And yes, it's still kind of humid and cold and windy, so I'm still using some heavy support, which are called rafts, so that I don't get too much warping in my parts. So these, how could I call them? Adapters? They will just sit on the torus, and between the torus and the screw, that the screw can rest something which is flat instead of the torus, which is of course roundish. Now let's go with a torus. So not really cleaned up, just removed the raft. There is some stringing, as we say it. I have to remove the support nonetheless. And you may have seen the difference with the previous versions. It's not very clear, but I got rid of the standard holes which I have to tap. Afterwards, I made some holes which will host some inserts, some brass inserts, so that we get less problem afterward when we want to screw something in. It will be easier to center the parts which will attach to the torus, for example. it's not the cleanest thing I've ever printed, but that should be okay. Okay, I haven't installed any inserts yet, but we'll just give it a try to see if it fits more or less, or if I got the dimension totally wrong. Same player, play again. I think we're not too far. Okay, a bit wonky still, but yeah, I guess that that will do. Okay, let me find some screws. By 5 by 20. Oh, I only have 2 left for 4 holes. Bummer. Amazon Prime, can you help? I don't think so. There are a limit to everything, you know. Okay. Oh, I almost forgot to put the... How should I call that? A cap of some sort? Without the cap, of course, I could have some smaller screws. Well... Okay. Now... Okay, the first screw is in. That's a victory. Now for the second one. And of course, I know there are some other holes and I should have put the second torus in it before this one. But I'll do that later on. Anyhow, I don't have the 4 screws either, so I would have to wait nonetheless. Whatever. Should have ordered smaller fingers while I was at it. I'm not sure Amazon sells some fingers. Okay, that's very temporary, but there it is. Later on today, maybe not during the live, I will use my soldering iron. Of course, I will remove the board beforehand and put the inserts into those 2 holes. I could... No, I do that later on. That's not that interesting. If you want to see me put some inserts, I've done it in the previous live or the live before the previous live. Anyhow, that's not that interesting. But, well, you got the idea. It's more robust than without inserts. Because of course the PLA, then, you know, when you screw and screw, there is some fatigue, and then it fails after some time. And as I told you the other day, it's kind of difficult to find for small screws, long enough screws to go to the end of the barrel to reach the nut that I put in there. So yes, inserts are quite a good way for me to attach board to that kind of contraption. So that's it for 3D printing today. Now, as I somehow promised, we'll try to install a version of Linux on this board, which happens to be the MangoPi R5S, which is based on a Rockchip RK, what is it, 3568, I guess? Yes, 3568 B2, and you know I'm a fan of Armbian, but there is no official distribution for this board of Armbian. And I know there is a community project which is called CSC Community. I always forget that acronym. The second C is for configuration, community supported, I guess, configuration. But there aren't many images available, and of the few I found, none of them were working for my board, for whatever reason. I also tried lots of other images of boards which happen to use more or less the same SOC, so RK3568 or 66, 68B2, but none of them worked for my board. I also tried the official images from Friendly Elec, which are Friendly Elec, Friendly WRT. I think it's a port of OpenWRT for these boards, but none of them worked for me. The board never started. Go figure. There is a last hope, which is Friendly Core, so it's just Debian based, I think, distro made by Friendly Elec. So we'll see if it starts with that distro, and if not, we're stuck until somebody finds something. So yeah, let me launch the software that we'll use to write down the distro to the SD card. So what is it? It's an eFlasher. It's not desktop. It's a Friendly Core. There it is. And the thing is, most of the time you just have SD card reader. So you put an SD card, small or big, then you have your system on it. It is what it is. It's not that reliable. It gets old. It's not perfect. The next level is to have what we call an eMMC, so it's kind of a not so good SSD. It's not as fast, but it's kind of reliable. So it's not perfect, but it's fine. So most of the time you have to pay a high price to get 64 or 128 or 256 gigabyte of eMMC. And it's really, really, really expensive, way more expensive than its SSD equivalent. And of some of the boards, there is one which is soldered, which is the case for this one. But unfortunately, it's only 8 gigabyte. So it will never ever be enough to host Jenkins instance with its jobs. Installing Jenkins would not be a problem, but Jenkins and its jobs, it would take way too much room. While I'm talking, I should have launched the flashing. So I'm afraid that for this board, I will install it on the eMMC and then install later on an SSD, because as far as I know, yeah, there is an M2 socket, if you can see my finger, and I should be able to put an SSD on it. And I could also use the 128 gigabyte SD card I have, but I know that they can fail. So yes, if I don't manage to get it to work with SSD, I will switch back to the SD card. But if I can use an SSD, I do it. And as it's a Rockchip-based board, most of the time it's a pain in the neck to get it to boot. On previous versions of Rockchip-based cards, I remember having to use pliers to make a shortcut between two pads on the SBC. I needed glasses, magnifying glasses to see the pads. It was really difficult for me, and it's getting better now. It's not easy, but it's kind of easy. This time they chose to use a button instead of pliers and pads to shortcut. So this still makes a shortcut, but this time you only need one finger. Beforehand, with plier and pads method, I needed 3 hands, which I don't happen to have. So that was problematic. I always needed someone to come and help me when I wanted to reflash the board. Not cool. So the flash is completed. Let's insert the SD card. Okay. Now I have to find some power. There you go. I'm not using the Pine power yet. Don't know why, except that the extension cord is not long enough. Now, if I want the SD card to install onto the eMMC, I have to click on the button for 3 seconds or so. The images I found on the Friendly Lake website are of 2 types. One type is a standard image that will run from the SD card, and the other type of image is an image that uses an eFlasher. So in the name you will find eFlasher, and these ones are meant to be used as just a transfer. You will just use this image while it's installing on the eMMC, and once it's done, you have to remove the SD card and everything will run from the eMMC. That's what we'll try now, and hopefully that will work. You are, how is it in the movie? You are our last hope or only hope. Never saw the original version, so I only have the translated one. Anyhow, so I'm clicking on the button, putting the power. 1, 2, 3. And releasing the button. And I don't know if you'll see anything, but the LEDs are supposed to change color. I don't know if you can see the red one, which is flashing rapidly, and it's supposed to have the 3 green LEDs stopping, just working when everything is done. So that's a first good indicator. I had already tried with other distros from Friendly Lake that did not work, despite the LEDs flashing green and then stopping, just being green, green, and green. So we don't know, but if that does not happen, that's not a good sign. Oh! I don't know if you can see that with the light, but yes, the 3 LEDs, 3 green LEDs are on. So let's remove the power. Let's remove the SD card. Don't need that anymore, as the system is supposed to have been installed onto the MMC. Now let me find back my Ethernet cable. pretty short. I should get a longer one. Gosh. Okay. Definitely have to build one or buy one which is longer. Okay. There we go. Now the power, and let's see if we have anything on the screen. Oh, okay. Today is my capture card that doesn't want to work. So that won't help. Oh, come on. Okay. So let me check on my router if anything new appears. And the router doesn't want to answer. Woo! Mm-hmm. Okay, it looks like my internet is back. And yes, I have another device which has shown up. Okay, let me take my keyboard and we'll see what we can do. I should have read the documentation, as I don't know what the password is. Let's try 1, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't sound like it is. MangoPi. No. Okay, let's have a look at the documentation. So get started, install OS. No, not WRT. I use friendly core. Root FA. Okay. Why not? FA. Woo! We're in. That's cool. Okay. this board is fast. Ouch. Okay, I won't maybe make the full upgrade live because it could take quite a while. Let's just no sudo. I'm already root. Cache search. Open JDK grep 17. Let's go with a headless version. Because yes, Jenkins run on Java and JDK 17 is supported. So after Java, I just want to launch it one time to see what kind of JVM or JDK this is. The other day I had the surprise to find that on RISC-V, the version which was shipped with Ubuntu was 0VM, which means that everything is interpreted. There is no hotspot, no JIT, no nothing, and it was slow. On this machine, it's not that big of a problem. Because even if it was interpreted, this one is pretty beefy. She has some muscles, but it would be better if it was a JIT one, a hotspot. She's fast. Wow. Okay. Mixed no, it's not written 0VM. It's a server VM. That's perfect for my use. That's what I was looking for. So cool, that's perfect. Now, without having a look at the Jenkins documentation, let's see if I can install Jenkins right away. Or if I have to add a PPA, I guess I will have to. I just can't remember. Yeah, okay. That was maybe a good guess. So let's have a look at the Jenkins IO website. And look in the documentation. Installing Jenkins. Cool. So no Docker, no Kubernetes, Linux. Blah, 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 blah. Yep. No, I want to work, life is too short to use LTS for proof of concepts. Or the other way around. With LTS, you know what's working, what doesn't work. There is no surprise. So yes, it may be better for a proof of concept because you already will have so many things to tackle with that having a determined version of something is pretty cool. But I'll do it nonetheless. So it's just a copy and paste. I can do that, I know Stack Overflow. Oh no, that's not cool. Okay, it's back. Whatever. So, same player, play again. Error in the certificate verification. Maybe my machine is not at the right date and time. That wouldn't be a real surprise. Okay, so let's do one command per one command. But first of all, Friday, January 27. Yes. The time is not the right one, but that's mostly okay. So I'm no okay. Call command not found. Oh, that's why. My bad. Wow, it's fast. Oh, first command succeeded. Now, second command. Okay. And now, I think we should be able to install Jenkins. So it's still telling me that the certificate is not trusted. Why the hell? So I definitely will have to write something in community Jenkins IO website to let people know that I failed at doing that. But before that, we could have a look at how to work around. Or maybe I'm missing something in the installation. Oh. Let's try that. You know, it's not the first time I'm using blindly Stack Overflow copy paste. You never know. That could work. Okay, same player, play again. Oh. Of course, I think I forgot that. Ooh, sounds good. Though it was just the certificates which were not installed in my Debian default install. That's cool. We have the last weekly 2.388. That's cool. Okay. So as you may have seen, this board has several Ethernet. No, you can't see it, but it has 3 RG45 plugs because it has been designed as a router. And one of them, you're supposed to plug it into the WAN, wide array network, and the other ones are 2 for the LAN, local area network. And unfortunately, this board doesn't do Wi-Fi. So I ordered a Wi-Fi USB dongle. I'm still waiting for it. And when it will be there, then this will be transformed into a hotspot for the other board. I'm not sure I will have an Ethernet plug when we'll be at the Jenkins booth in the Brussels University, one of the Brussels University hosting FOSDEM. So I have to think of something also with my phone. You know, you can have tethering and reverse tethering with just a USB cable. So I have to install that also so that this board will receive the network from my phone via USB and then become a hotspot, a Wi-Fi hotspot for the other board, and also an Ethernet router for the one and only board that doesn't handle Wi-Fi, which is the smallest one, the MangoPi Duo 2. Anyhow, Jenkins is now installed, hopefully up and running. So I asked by journal control to give me the first logs of Jenkins. And the first time Jenkins starts, it will give you code, a password that you will have to enter into the UI. So let's try that. Maybe it's on the 8080 port by default. Yes, indeed, I got it right. So let's use -F to get the new logs. It's asking me for the password. Mighty fine, there it is. Yeah, go ahead, install the suggested plugin, that's fine with me. It's working. Oh, okay, so it's not my Jenkins, I guess it's the update center which hosts all the plugins, so there may be some problem on the infra side or between me and the infra side, you never know. I don't think this is my Jenkins failing, it's just a problem of communication between my Jenkins and the infra. Or not? We'll see. I don't see any offending logs. You know, nothing is shocking. Jenkins is fully up and running. Doesn't sound too worrying. Okay, if that ever fails again, we'll call it a day and retry later on, and that will be the end of the live for today. But it's already a success. We have installed a new torus on the contraption. You know, I haven't installed the inserts yet, but we have a new torus. And we also have installed successfully for the first time a Linux distro based on Debian on the R5S from MangoPi. We logged onto it thanks to SSH without a keyboard or screen, whatever, just SSH. That's fantastic. And then we installed OpenJDK 17 server version and then Jenkins. And once installed, we started Jenkins. Okay, we didn't go up to the end of the installation of Jenkins because of a problem in the communication between my instance and the update center, which holds all the plugin updates. But I'm sure if I retry that in 1 hour or 2, it will work because I don't have any logs on my side, so it must be on the plugin update center side, not on mine, because I don't see no offending logs. But that's fine. I mean, pretty happy and proud of what we succeeded in it today. We now have almost working Jenkins server for our booth display at FOSDEM 2023 on an Arch 64 machine with 8 GB of RAM and 8 GB of eMMC. That's super cool. Now I will have for the next lives to launch other boards, you know, the install of Linux on other boards, because for the time being we only have the RISC-V running. We still have the ARM32 to use and the ARM64, which happened to be based on the Allwinner H616, which is a hell of a sock, which is not mainlined yet. It's a pain in the neck to get it booting. Why the hell did I choose such a board? Just don't know. It was looking sexy in pink, I guess. And yeah, we'll talk about something else this time for the R5S. Have you ever seen a GPIO supplied in another form than the one we always see, you know, the 2.54 pitch millimeter of 6, 12, 24, 40 something pins? No, I have never ever seen something else. But this time with this board, there are a few pins for GPIO which are available thanks to a standard 2.54 millimeter pitch. That's cool, that's fine, that's all right. But the pins I need for attaching a display with it's a SPI protocol are supplied with something called FPC, I guess. It's a 0.5 millimeter pitch, and you have to use flat cables, you know, like for the display, something very, very thin, and to convert it to GPI, standard GPIO, you know, the Dupont cables with a 2.54 millimeters pitch. And I don't have that, and Amazon doesn't have that, so I will have to order that from AliExpress, and it will never ever be there on time for me to get it at the Jenkins booth display next week at FOSDEM. So yeah, we won't have any functioning working display, and that's entirely my fault because I did not see we had such a problem when I ordered the board. I saw GPIO SPI, I said, woohoo, fantastic. No, not so fantastic. You should have looked more carefully, more closely. It's not 2.54 GPIO pitch. It's life, you know. Yes! As you can see, that was just a transient problem. Oh. Ah! Okay, maybe not. It's downloading nonetheless. Something are progressing. That was not the case beforehand. So finally, plugins installation went fine. It took some time, but it went fine. But I guess my PC also has some problems with Wi-Fi. Not doing super good these days. So I will just continue the installation of Jenkins, which is just a few steps. It's pretty simple. Now we're creating the first admin user. It would never ever send me something, so done it. Jenkins URL, yes, as long as we're not using Avahi, we'll keep with IP for the time being, but that's not a good idea. I think I'll migrate to Avahi later on and use the host name instead of the IP, which will change as soon as I'm getting into another network. Jenkins is ready. That's good news. Start using Jenkins. Whoa, nice. What is pragmatic? Yes, I will have to set up agents. As I told you before, you maybe have seen the previous lives. I already have one Jenkins agent, which happened to be a RISC-V agent. So we'll install this one, and maybe if we're lucky, I'll be able to install other agents, an R64 agent and also an ARM32 agent. And I think also of installing directly, thanks to Docker, an agent on the controller, because why not? I've got 8 GB of RAM, that's too much for a Jenkins instance handling only 3 or 4 agents. That's all. Bye.